On Monday, August 22, I have had enough rest and I decided to go out and deal with some of the important things that I needed to do that I had left over from last time. Last time is specifically August 17, and I will link the video to that vlog in the description box. Today is a particularly rainy day because it is the monsoon season already in our country, and there is also a storm that's coming in. Although it is not going to make landfall in our city specifically, but we always get the heavy rains here, even if the storms will be hitting other places. As usual, the first task is to take cash from the ATM. And by the way, I am wearing my rubber boots. These are Les Chameaux Giverny rubber boots, which I have an unboxing video of on my channel. I will link it down below. After taking cash, I drove to the Bureau of Internal Revenue, and the available parking space was a bit of a walk away, but that is okay because I had an umbrella and I was wearing rubber boots. See, the streets are flooded and my shorts were getting wet from the rain. And here it is, the Bureau of Internal Revenue. I went in and purchased the documentary stamps that I needed for some government forms. And I also waited for my turn to ask the officer of the day about something in connection with the publishing of my novel, specifically the tax for the royalties that the publisher is going to pay me. And after some time, I got the clarifications and answers and additional information that I needed from the officer of the day, and it didn't take long at all. Everyone was nice and helpful. And now, while I am walking to where I was parked, let me explain the concern. I wanted to consult the officer of the Bureau of Internal Revenue about the tax residence certificate for foreign source income, or TRC. I have the list of requirements in that paper that I was holding earlier, but some of the requirements might not be applicable to me, and I just wanted a clarification. The TRC is something that the publisher of my novel requested but did not require. I can opt not to submit a TRC to the publisher, but if I don't, then the publisher will withhold taxes from my royalties and remit those taxes to the Internal Revenue Office of their country in my name. This will all have documentation, of course, each time they release my royalties to me. But if I submit a TRC from my country, the publisher will pay me royalties without deducting the tax, and I will be the one to pay my taxes here in my country, and I will be the one to provide documentation to my publisher that I have paid my taxes. That is how it goes. I can go either way. Either way is perfectly legal. If I do decide to get a TRC, I first need to register for a new tax identification number, or TIN, specifically for that purpose as a writer that is earning income from a foreign source. And these are the requirements here. Only after a new tax number is registered for me can I go to the next step, which is to register for a TRC. Okay, I will take a day to think about which option to take, but not very long. I need to have a final answer for my publisher in a day or two. Next, I drove to the post office, which is just nearby. It's in the same neighborhood, because I needed to purchase a postal money order that is supposed to be paid to the National Library of the Philippines, which is part of the requirements for registering the copyright of my novel that is going to be published in a different country. Here is the post office, and it is crowded at the moment. People are lining up for a variety of transactions, but I requested for the priority lane because I am a person with disability, and it was quite fast. Props to Judith here for attending to me right away. As soon as I handed her my request form, she told me what I had to pay, which is 241 pesos. I paid it, and then she printed out this postal money order, and then I was on my way. And I actually wanted to go home because my parents had arrived at the house and no one was there and they were locked out. But Look at this traffic. It's really, really bad. I could not get to the street that I usually take going home. And I was in traffic some amount of time that my mother ended up messaging me that Yaya Meling had already arrived home and they were already inside the house. And then, after several minutes more of me inching forward in traffic, my mother messaged me again to say that my son was also home and they were already cooking food for merienda. So I didn't need to go home that very moment. I couldn't even go home even if I wanted to because of the traffic. So I decided to go to the next errand, which was to get a duplicate made of our key to the kitchen door because my dad needed one. And I do get my keys duplicated inside this store right here because they have a machine for key duplication. And so far, every single key that I got duplicated here has worked. So far. And then I was already starting to get tired. Traffic can do that. It is quite draining. So I decided to try going home again because I already had that key copy anyway. And I decided to try going home again, taking a different route. But traffic in that other route was just as bad, maybe even worse. So I am going to make you suffer the way I did by showing you the traffic that I went through. So come right along with me while I put on some music. But I decided to soldier on because two more things absolutely needed to get done that day. I needed to mail off notebooks to a customer through LBC, which is a private courier. And then after that, I had to go to National Bookstore to pick up one ream of A4 sized 70 GSM paper because I needed to print two copies of my novel to submit to the National Library for copyright purposes. I picked up this pack here that says the paper is Substance 20. And I also got some of the document envelopes that I will be using for the mailing and also one long folder. And then after lining up at the cashier and paying up for the items that I needed, it was already around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I decided to try going home again because I was already tired. And I was even prepared to go to the super duper long route home in case traffic on my usual routes were still clogged. But miraculously, in this time, it was already clear. So I went home because the late afternoon rush hour was about to start soon, and I did not want to be caught in it. Now, I did have one last errand to do, supposedly, to deliver notebooks to my cousin Wai Ying, but she said she wasn't home until the weekend anyway, so I decided to call it a day. Despite the terrible traffic, I still got to do the things I absolutely needed to do in the rain, which I like, so it is all good.